Hello and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Judith, and today we're going to focus on a vegetable dish. Now I do have a chicken, and that's going to go with. I'm just going to roast it. I'm going to spatchcock it and roast it, so I'll explain that later. But what we're doing today is succotash. Now when I was a kid, I thought succotash was an actual vegetable. My mom had to explain to me that succotash isn't an actual vegetable. Succotash is normally made with what they call the three sisters, which refers to corn, squash, and beans, which are generally grown together because they grow really well together and they eat really well together. Well, in this I don't have squash. Well, I do. I'm going to use zucchini, which is not traditional, but then squash isn't traditional in it anyway. I do have the corn. You want to get fresh vegetables if you can. If you can't get them fresh, get frozen. Then you want a bean, and I looked high and low for Lima beans, which I adore, but I couldn't find any, so I have a choice. I have canned butter beans, which are actually young Lima beans, or I have chickpeas. So the butter beans will be softer. The chickpeas will be more robust and will stand longer cooking and reheating later. But I think I want to go with the butter beans. Then you want some onion, white onion, garlic. We're going to throw in a green pepper. And for seasonings, the salt and pepper, onion and garlic, you will want some fresh herbs. So I have sage, thyme, and basil. So let me start cutting vegetables. Actually, first off, let me get the chicken in the oven, because succotash goes so well with grilled chicken or fish or baked chicken or, whatever. Fairly simple protein. So let's get the chicken done. Now to spatchcock a chicken, and I have done this before. I will link to the other video. Basically, what you want to do is cut out the backbone. Yes, you'll get chicken, don't worry. So, let's turn it around. Need to find. Here we go. And just good kitchen shears, and you should be able to cut pretty much straight through. And if you get down to the hips and it doesn't want to cut, it should be still good. Just two-hand it. Oh, caught on something there. Okay, then once you get one side off, you flip it and figure out what's stopping you, and just get a knife and no idea what's going on there. There we go. Okay. I love these chickens. They are so much cleaner than most of the ones I've ever found in the grocery store. The kidneys are pretty much gone. You just occasionally have to deal with a little bit of lung or something that they missed. But mostly, they're beautiful. Now, this bit you can throw in the freezer and use for stock later. But let's season our chicken, and season it to your preference. But I'm using my chicken and rib spice, and I will give you a link to that too. And give it a rub in. You can oil. I'm not oiling this side, but I will probably oil the top side. Go. And I'm going to turn the legs that way. And what you want to do on the breast is give it a good push down to flatten it. flatten that out. Now normally you cook a spatchcock chicken with the legs out that way. I like to turn them inward. That gives it a little better chance of cooking evenly. So let me get some oil, and just olive oil. Or whatever oil you prefer. This will make the skin nice and crispy. Give it a good rub. Oh, any feathers, pull them off. Let's see, feathers. And some more of the seasoning. Okay. A good rub. Now I'm going to cook this in a 350-degree oven, and this is a 3-pound chicken, so it will take 1 hour, which is a nice thing about spatchcocking your chicken. They cook faster. So there is our spatchcocked chicken, and I do put it in a square baking dish. That's why, one of the reasons why I turn the legs that way, so they go into the point of the baking dish. And if you want to roast a chicken, but you really don't want your oven on for 3 hours, spatchcock it. It'd take 1 hour. Of course, depending on the size of your chicken. If it's a big chicken, you're going to need a bigger pan and a longer cook time. Okay, to prepare your vegetables, the first thing you have to do is remove the corn from the cob. You could use canned or frozen, although fresh, expected. It's better, and it's not that hard. So I cut the tip off, and I cut the base off. Then I stand it, and I slice down. Let me see if I can get it where you can see it. And just slice the kernels off the cob. Lovely, fresh corn. And this is what's called here peaches and cream corn. It's very tender, very white. There we go. We're going to put our corn in our bowl. So you should have a 1.5 cups to 2 cups of corn. As I'm only doing 2 cobs, I'm a little less than a 1.5 cups. But that's okay. I don't want to make a huge amount tonight. Okay, and then we're going to cut up about a cup of white onion. So half of that big one should be enough. Actually, it should be way more than a cup, but we'll find out. Now, the measurements are not exact. They're approximate ratios, if anything. And we're just gonna give it a rough chop. So let's see how much we got there. Now that's a cup measure. Slightly more than a cup. Very good. So the rest of the vegetables I am just going to chop. Like I said, I have the zucchinis, I have yellow and green. I have a green pepper. I'm just going to use half of the green pepper. Then we want some garlic, and then we'll deal with the herbs. And as always, I have forgotten to mention a very important ingredient: cherry tomatoes. These are so tart, sweet, and delicious. So I'm just going to half these, if I can keep them corralled. And they will go in towards the end of cooking. So you just want to cut them in half. I mean, it's simple. You can cut a cherry tomato in half without instruction, I'm sure. So to start our succotash, we need some olive oil or vegetable oil, whatever you happen to have. Give it at least a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons in a hot pan. We're going to put in our onion. I'm going to saute that for a bit. I'm going to soften it. Oh, well, that chunk's kind of big, didn't get cut up very well, so let's deal with that. We don't want big bits. There we go. There we go. Right. Then we're going to add our garlic. So that's 2 cloves of garlic. And we're going to wait for that to get lovely and aromatic and stop throwing the onion out of the pan would be nice. So we're going to wait for that to soften a bit before we add our other vegetables. And we'll check on our chicken. Look good. Smells wonderful. Should be done soon. Here. Now that we've got our onions and garlic softened, we're going to start adding our vegetables. And we do want to add the harder vegetables first. So the green peppers go in. And actually, you would think the corn, but no. Zucchini. Oops. So we're going to let things saute for a bit. And you do want to hit this with some salt and freshly ground pepper. Oh, hang on, I think my pepper grinder is getting very low, but and some Himalayan sea salt. There you go. Careful not to overdo it, especially if you're doing my roast chicken with my seasoning on it, because that does have salt in it. A good stir around. And we just have to wait for the zucchini to soften a little. Okay. Keep stirring. Now they're starting to soften. Our zucchini is starting to soften, so we want to add our corn. That's almost a cup and a half. Not quite, of fresh corn kernels. Stir in. And we're going to add our butter beans. Rinsed, they're canned butter beans, rinsed and drained, only because I could not find lima beans. But in case you didn't know, butter beans are actually lima beans. I thought they were young lima beans, but they're very large, so I don't know. And then our halved cherry tomatoes. Get everybody into the party. And I'm not worried about the corn being undercooked because it is so tender that you could eat it raw. And I've chewed little bits off. So there. Let's let that cook. Everybody back in the pan. And then we'll add our herbs and check our seasoning. And now that we let it simmer for a while, well, saute, whatever you want to call it, and our vegetables are soft and lovely, we're going to add our herbs. And I have about 2 tablespoons of curly parsley, a teaspoon of fresh thyme, a tablespoon of sage. I'm going to stir that all in. Smells wonderful. And at the very last, we're going to tear in a little bit of basil. Oh my god, it looks wonderful, smells even better, and paired with that lovely roast chicken I just made, it's going to be delicious. Dinner is ready. So we have roast chicken and succotash. And I'm going to add some of my jalapeno jelly there, just to spice up the chicken. As I said, I thought succotash was an actual vegetable. To me, it sounded like a squash. It is a medley of vegetables, generally using the Three Sisters food group, which was beans, corn, I never remember the third one, but cook it together with some nice herbs and some butter. You're going to actually add more butter at the end of cooking if you wish. It is good as a low carb dinner. Well, it does freeze well. So if you want to portion it up into smaller containers and put it in the freezer, then you have it ready to go when you want it. It is delicious and filling, and you won't miss the bread or potatoes. Believe me, you just won't. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, if you learned something, please give it a like. Hit that thumbs up button. If you'd like to, please subscribe. I thank you all for watching. Do check the posts in my YouTube page, because I do put things up now and then, and I do have a poll going. I really want to hear your opinion to help me improve my videos. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon with a new video.